day and welcome to another exciting episode of Trendz Travel. I'm your host for today, Uslundiwe Wagamtalane. Last year, we were all Team Summer Body and Team Fit until December happened, and we might have maybe overindulged just a bit. On our next segment, we show you how to get back on that fit wagon.
Coming up next on Trendz Travel this week, we get to feed and play with Crocs in Sun City. We explore the new and improved Queen Mary 2 in all her splendor. We learn fiery Spanish dance moves. And finally, we go to Ethiopia to learn more about the Rastafari culture. All this coming up next.
So the festive season has come and gone, but some of us are still dealing with the remnants of the feast, a little extra weight we're carrying around. So we're going to teach you what to do to make sure that your 2017 is lean and fit. So come through, let's work out with us. Virtually with any machine that you use in the gym, it can be used either for some cardio or for use to build muscle. The equation is very easy. More calories taken in, you have to exercise even more for you to get them out. So for instance, on the treadmill, every gym has one of these. All you need to do is get onto one. So Wipilo here is going much slower than usually, and she's on a bit of an incline, which helps to build muscle. If she were to be doing some cardio work, she'd increase the speed of the treadmill to make sure that she burns more calories per minute that way. So this is one of 3 warm-ups you can do just before your exercises. Another one to use is the stepper. Come through this way. Again, you can either use this for cardio or for some resistance training. So to get yourself nice and warm up, especially on leg day, get 5 minutes or 10 minutes of this in there, making sure you're keeping your back really, really straight so that you don't strain it, and preparing your knees also for all the trauma it's going to go through when you do the leg day. So an old favorite of mine is to use the exercise bike as well. The great thing about this is that you can vary the resistance to make sure that you get as targeted a workout as you can. The idea is if you're burning calories, to go lower yet faster, and when you're building muscle, to try and go with the resistance to slightly higher and slightly slower so you can start building that muscle. So a big fan of whole body exercises, and the old burpee does very well for this. So as you can see with Wipilo, she's engaging both her legs and half her body. So both new gym goers and old gym goers can do this one. It's a lunge and a squat in one. So when you go squatting to the side, make sure you get your legs fully open. And when you go forward, you hold the lunge and you keep the 90-degree angle and your back is straight. Okay. Of course, you can add more resistance by then using dumbbells just to give you that added weight on the side. Cool. So if you want these, this is how you get them, right? For beginners, start off with a normal plank, right? Make sure you're getting all your support from your forearms and holding them together. Your bum must be slightly raised, keeping a straight back and straight legs. So this engages the core. Do it for 10 seconds, then add 10 seconds on top, 30 seconds, and do as many as you can. From there, you can start lifting off your forearms into your hands, which gives you just a bit more resistance, right? Also, all the time tightening the core. And you can go from this to working your side obliques, which gives you those nice side abs over there in the V line, by tucking your knee into your shoulder. Okay, as slowly as you can. And when you get a little better at it, you can now go taking your right knee and taking it across to your left arm, engaging the side of the quads. Like that.
Now, continuing on with our abs is going to my personal favorite, which is the ab wheel. Now, the point of it is for you to keep rolling forwards and backwards. And for you as a beginner, you use your knees as the point of balance. Okay, now we're moving into our weight training for our shoulders. This is the shoulder press, using the light weights, of course, and then we can advance into the weight training. So for this exercise with the dumbbell press, we want the weights to come down to your ears, 90-degree angle. Keep going. Perfect. It's good. We usually do about 3 sets of these from a 15, 12, and then a 10. And our following shoulder exercise here is what we call a shoulder fly raise. The point of this exercise is for you to work out right over here. Keep it shoulder length. Thank you. Again, we're going to keep it on our 3 sets. 1 of 15, 1 of 12, and 1 of 10. Remember, when we're gymming, we're not here to compete with each other. So do the weights that are appropriate for your strength. It's okay, even light weights work for you. So whenever you're a light person, do light weights. You'll keep building momentum and get to your heavy weights. And now we move into our tricep exercises. With this exercise, this is the tricep muscle. You're pulling down, up, 90 degree, just over 90 degree and then you're going downwards. And now moving into our other bicep exercises is what we call the hammer curl. Do the appropriate weight so you don't swing. Keep your back straight, put your legs anchored properly, and move up. All the way up to your shoulders. All the way up. No swinging, Libra. Perfect.
So it's important that after you work out, you cool down correctly, just to make sure that you're not sore the very next day. So just make sure you take some time out in your workout to make sure you cool down correctly, get those muscles relaxed again. So start off by dropping all the way to your hands down to the floor. Try and touch your toes, keeping your back straight, keeping your legs straight. If you can't, bend them slightly, bend your knees slightly. Holding on and then coming up vertebra by vertebra. Your head is heavy, it's the last thing to come up. And you hold it down, and while you're there, take your right arm, put it over your shoulder, over your head, and use your other arm. And that's it from the Health Experience. Thank you so much for joining us and working out with us this afternoon. You can find out more about us on our social media pages, being
on Instagram is _Health Experience, on Twitter is _Health EXP, and Facebook the Health Experience.
An enormous crocodile sanctuary and scenic park, the Kwena Crocodile Farm is home to over 7,000 crocodiles. It is also home to Arnold, one of the biggest captive Nile crocodiles in the world. Tourists come to view magnificent bird life and get a chance to watch these amazing creatures being fed.
Alright, we breed Nile crocodiles here, as you can see. This is African species, the second biggest in the whole world. The biggest are in Australia, the saltwater crocodiles. They grow 8.1 meters. Nile crocodiles grow 6.5 meters from this size, imagine. They grow 6,000 times over this original weight of that. They grow 6.5 meters. They're followed by American alligators, Chinese alligators with 4.2 meters. Slender snouted crocodiles in Asia, 3.9, in Kenya and South America, 1.9 meters. So these are the second biggest Nile crocodiles. He's coming slowly. Come. This park started in 1985 with 200 from Botswana and the Okavango Delta. So far there's over 7,000 crocodiles. But as you walk around, you won't see the whole 7,000 because it's divided into two, obviously. We breed them, we sell them to other parks here. In Sanctuary side, as you walk around, you will see, we separate our crocs according to their size and age, because the big crocodiles eat the small ones out there in the wild. They have enemies like mongoose, monitor lizard, baboons, and birds that steal their eggs and hatchlings. Survival rate of crocodiles in the wild is only 2%. But at least in captivity, we're looking at 80% survival rate, because we separate them according to size and age here. And we collect their eggs just to protect them. 80% survival rate. After 30 years of service, there's over 7,000 crocodiles here. So from May to July, they mate in this region. September to October, they start to lay eggs. Within a period of 24 hours before the embryo develop, we jump inside there. We collect all the eggs for incubation. They take 76 to 90 days to hatch. Mature females around 12 years. From there, we collect maximum of 50 eggs per crocodile. As from the big ones, we collect maximum of 90 per crocodile. See, when they hatch, they're around 30 centimeters, weighing between 80 grams and 120 grams. First year, they'll be around 70 centimeters. This is just a year old. They grow 30 centimeters every year in this region until teenagehood. That's around 2.8 meters. From there, growth rate slows down to 2.5 centimeters every year. They don't stop growing, so that means the length of a crocodile will give you the age. Their gender is determined by temperature. In the wild where they lay their eggs, they dig up a hole of around 50 centimeters. The upper layer of eggs in that hole will come out as males and the lower layer as females because of temperature difference there. Captivity is incubators. We set temperature 26 to 30 degrees Celsius to reproduce females and 31 to 34 degrees Celsius males. Over 34 we get deformities. There's one without a tail inside there, we call him Stumpy. He's very lucky to be in captivity. In the wild, they wouldn't survive at all. The speed of a crocodile on land is about 25 to 30 kilometers per hour. That's a bit faster than a human, but for a very short distance. So if you want to see you on land, at a starting point, don't run straight, try zigzag. That's why they get tired quickly. In water, you don't stand any chance, can be double speed around 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. So if you want to survive a crocodile attack, you hit the nose here, you poke the eyes. These are the most sensitive parts of a crocodile. Or inside the mouth, the line at the back here. It's a gullet flap, or you can call it the palatal valve. It closes water from flooding, and if you push it back, you can drown it. But always remember, crocodiles have a set of 64 to 68 teeth. They keep replacing their whole lifetime, and not just for chewing, it's to crush, they just swallow. The biting force of a crocodile can be 2 to 3.5 tons per square inch. When they close, they never let go. Strong in closing their jaws, but weak in opening. That's why it's always simple. If you hold it tight here, with a simple sellotape, they won't open their mouth. Okay, they have 3 eyelids. The third eyelid is the nictitating membrane. It acts as goggles so they can see clearly underneath water. The nictitating membrane will come from here to here. Let me try to hit it here. I want you to see that. This is the third eyelid, the nictitating membrane. It acts as goggles so they can see clearly underneath water. The nose here and the ears will be closed completely when they're hiding in water to avoid bubbles. Crocodiles can hide in water for a maximum of 3 hours without breathing. They just slow down the heartbeat to 3 beats per minute. That's why they live for so long. Animals that control their heartbeats live longer. Lifespan is over 100 years in captivity. In the wild. In captivity, over 100, but in the wild between 80 and 100 years.
After watching some fearsome eating, we made our way to some leisurely activities for some putt-putt on the mini golf course. Putt-putt is an offshoot of the sport of golf, focusing solely on the putting aspect of its parent game. An expert came to show me how to do this, and within seconds I got it perfect. I do have a perfect swing, you know.
Okay, so this hand is open. Oh, there.
That's right.
Do I really need to hold it like this though?
If you want to, whatever you put your
Yeah.
palm and you put it together.
Yes.
There,
Okay.
and then you.
Alright, so you were saying all of these holes are very difficult. But you gave me the most difficult one.
No, the easier one. I gave you the easier. Use the ball.
Okay. Okay. I got this.
So just your head.
Yeah.
Okay, so much.
I got it in. So obviously I'm really good at this golf thing, so maybe I'm ready for the 13th hole. Hey! We hope you're still enjoying the show. We have so much more for you just after the break.
With the vast experience SABC News have, we are able to gather news and when it happens locally and abroad.
Inflation will be lower this year. Food price inflation more specifically could decline.
Current chairperson Dr. Nkosazana Lamini Zuma is not vying for a second term. 5 candidates are eyeing her seat.
The idea of having more countries seems specifically tailored to appeal to the African, Asian and Caribbean confederations who have been underrepresented at World Cups.
Ronaldo lifted the UEFA Champions League before captaining his country to a first international trophy at Euro 2016.
To be informed all the time, stay tuned to News Today, Monday to Friday at 3 p.m.
A presumed U.S. drone strike in the south of the country has killed 3 Al-Qaeda suspects.
Death toll in Yemen's 18-month-old civil war now stands at about 10,000.
People get killed or die and are actually buried before they're recorded, and we don't have a way of recording that, but we know the numbers are much higher.
Water restrictions are to be imposed on villages in and around the Nkomazi municipality.
Pumps can't pump the water because there's no water in a river, and if the water is coming back, then it's full of mud.
Those who can pray and those who can do any miracle to make sure that we've got enough rain, give it a try.
The very grand Queen Mary II docked on our shores last week, and our very own, very lucky Nadia Dambuza got to experience all its finery and luxury. Coming up next.
The Queen Mary II, also referred to as a transatlantic ocean liner, is the only major ocean liner built for the Cunard Line since Queen Elizabeth II in 1969. She was named by Queen Elizabeth in 2004 after her namesake, the Queen Mary, in 1936. Taking its passengers on a luxury voyage around the world, this elegant floating hotel is the epitome of a world-class travel experience. After going through major transformation, the luxury ocean liner Queen Mary II set sail 18 days ago from Southampton and has arrived in Cape Town looking better than ever. We are here to explore all she has to offer. The ship was originally designed by a team of British naval architects led by Stephen Payne and was constructed in France by Chantiers de l'Atlantique in 2003. At the time of construction, Queen Mary II was the longest passenger ship ever built. The Queen Mary II's facilities include 15 restaurants and bars, 5 swimming pools, a casino, a ballroom, a theater, and the first planetarium at sea. We caught up with the distinguished captain.
It's actually a great honor to be in command of Queen Mary II. She's the only ocean liner in the world, and so I think it's a very special position to hold. For me, it's like she's the top ship in the marine industry. Very special, very iconic, and maybe a ship that you'll never see the likes of again. Earlier this year, we spent 19 days in dry dock in Germany. We had 4,000 contractors working on board, 2,000 from the shipyard, I think it was, making major changes. And you'll see as you go around this morning. So when you get to deck 7, for example, the whole area from forwards, the Corinth, what was all actually called the Winter Gardens, is now the Corinthia Lounge, right through to the after end, which is the end of the King's Court area, which is a buffet area, was completely gutted and then rebuilt with a new design, using 300,000 handmade tiles for the decking, so all laid individually by hand. So quite an impressive amount of work there. We put 35 new cabins on the upper deck here on deck 13 and 15 new cabins, single cabins, which is something new to Queen Mary II, down on decks 2 and 3. And then pretty well every stateroom was recarpeted, new furniture in the staterooms throughout the ship, new carpets, and just modifications pretty well everywhere.
The British pub offered a very cozy venue for our next interview.
Hello, Sean.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's a beautiful day in Cape Town.
It is.
Thank you very much for hosting us on the luxurious Queen Mary. So please give us a background history on this magnificent piece of work.
Okay, so Queen Mary is 13 years old. She is the last of the great ocean liners that have been built by Cunard. And Queen Mary was specifically built to do what was the old traditional post run from, what they call the transatlantic, so from New York to Southampton or Southampton to New York. And what makes her special is that obviously the North Atlantic seas are a little bit rougher, so she's built, the hull is reinforced, she can go faster than most ships. She's got fantastic stabilizers, and she's really built to travel the world. And I think that's what makes her so special. She's very British, with Cunard being a British company. And she really epitomizes the finest of what cruising and British cruising can be.
Wow, I think we can tell. Okay, so what other fun things can you tell us? Like what happens on the ship? What can one expect?
Yeah, Queen Mary has been built to be different. So things like, for example, she has her own planetarium. There are 9 different restaurants on board. We've got some of the best restaurants in the world, some of the finest chefs in the world that work on board. I think at last count, Queen Mary's actually got 150 chefs that feed up to 2,900 passengers on board. So if the ship's full, she's got 2,900 passengers, another 1,200 odd crew. So the kitchen setup, as I'm sure you can imagine, is quite amazing. Some fun facts. Queen Mary will use over 250,000 pounds of potatoes in a year. 1.3 million tea bags.
Oh wow!
In a year, 38,000 pounds of smoked salmon, and on a normal 7-day cruise, she'll use about 12,000 pounds of fish. She'll use 12,000 tons of red meat.
Okay.
And it doesn't stop. I mean, as I say, you can imagine the amount of passengers that they feed.
Yeah, 2,900 is a lot. So when does she take a break?
She doesn't actually. The only time that she would is if she's having a refurb or having repairs. But that. Really, she cruises all the time. She cruises around the world. At the moment, she's in Cape Town on a world cruise. Once she's done in about the middle of April, she will start her transatlantic route. So she'll do New York and Southampton. She'll go to Canada. She'll go to the Caribbean. And then she'll start her world cruise again next year. So the only time that you really take a break is if they're going to do a big refurb, like they did last year in August.
Okay, great. So can you tell us a bit about the refurb? Like what's changed?
Yeah, so like any ship that's 13, 14 years old, things need to change. It needs to modernize. So I think it had a lot to do with colors. They changed colors on board. They changed carpeting. They changed some of the restaurants. And it all actually boiled down to the guests. They did a survey with the guests to find out what they liked, what they didn't like. And I think that's also one of the things that Cunard are really known for, is that they do listen to their customers as to what they want. So if you do go around and you see the refurbs, listen, it costs £90 million. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot, but it looks amazing. So we can see where it went.
Yeah, look, I think they've done a great job, and I think they've really done some work to take the Queen Mary 2 forward, and to really be one of the most outstanding cruise ships that there is.
This is amazing.
Well, we're sitting here in the Golden Lion pub, which is a nice traditional British pub on a traditional British ship. So, yeah, there are lots of those things. There's a Veuve Clicquot bar, there's a Belgian chocolate bar.
Yeah.
I'm afraid there is. But there's cold beers.
Oh, great. As we're South Africans, we don't do warm beer very well. So you mentioned that there's a beer pub and there's a champagne.
Veuve Clicquot, champagne bar. You've got a chocolate bar. You've got coffee shops. You've got pastries for your cakes and high tea and all those sort of things. Those are the British traditions that happen. They do high tea dancing. You can do fencing on board. You've got a magnificent spa.
Oh, wow.
People spend a lot of time at. You've got a full hospital on board with a doctor and with a dentist. So when you're on Queen Mary, as you've seen, this is almost like a city.
Yes, it is a city.
The ultimate experience for any discerning traveller. We hope to see you on the Queen Mary 2.
If you've just joined us, you've missed out on the Queen Mary, some exercise and crocodiles in Sun City. But don't you worry, we have so much more for you just after the break.
We make sure to be where news is happening, both locally and globally.
For the latest business news, stay with us.
From South Africa to the world, we've got all your latest sporting news.
Don't miss our weather updates every hour.
Stay tuned to News Today, Monday to Friday, from 3 to 5:30 p.m. here on SABC News.
ANC moved to ease tensions created by the heated public spat between National Treasury and Eskom.
Eskom denied allegations of impropriety regarding the matter. National Treasury issued a statement accusing Eskom of lying.
The fracas over hairstyles at a Pretoria school has drawn sharp focus on underlying racism and alleged abuse in some schools.
We want relevant answers from the MEC. You must fire the principal.
Here too, similar sentiments of underlying racism.
It just made me feel like I was not worthy enough of an education because of the type of hairstyle that I had. Because yesterday the statement was, writing an exam is a privilege.
Welcome back. The flamenco has been in Spanish culture for eons. The word flamenco is a derivative of flames or fire. You'll know why if you watch this segment.
In one of Madrid's oldest flamenco venues, a heart-wrenching voice commands attention as arms rise, fingers curl, and feet strike wooden floors to the sound of gypsy chords. Renowned for showcasing artists at the forefront of Spanish flamenco's scene for 6 decades, family-run Corral de la Morera attracts a nightly mix of aficionados, foreigners, and celebrities. Rich yet harrowing, flamenco is designed to evoke all the senses, performed passionately by men and women, typically involving a fiery singer, dancer, guitarist, a palmero who claps the rhythms. Prolific throughout southern Spain, the art is a concoction of beats from Spain's outcast gypsy. Jew and Muslim communities driven by a narrative of suppression and resilience. Every year, hundreds of tourists go to the Corral to enjoy a show full of Spanish flavor. Set in a 19th century house, steps away from the royal palace, candlelit walls are peppered with pictures of Hollywood stars taken by the owners including Michael Douglas, Nicole Kidman and Harrison Ford. Politicians such as former US President Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon, musicians from 1970s hard rock band Kiss to songstress Mariah Carey, and sports stars such as Brazilian soccer player Pelé have also visited, sometimes even taking to the stage to dance.
¿Quieres a misa? Y me enamoró de él, pues su simpatía, como verás.
The founder's widow, Blanca Del Rey, an iconic flamenco dancer who made her debut at Corral de Moreira at age 14, scours the country's festival for top talent, handpicking the weekly program that includes a roster of celebrated artists complemented by Spain's rising stars.
Es mi ilusión traer, como mi marido hacía, a lo mejor del mundo del flamenco estaba aquí en este escenario, y esa es también mi ilusión. Por eso viajo por toda España, por todos los festivales que hay ahora en Jerez. Me voy a Jerez porque todo lo que triunfa en los grandes festivales que tienen nombre, pues los traigo.
De la historia del flamenco, es decir, es la institución que más espectáculos ha ofrecido en la historia del flamenco, es la institución por la que más público ha pasado en la historia del flamenco, es la institución por la que más artistas y de más nivel han pasado en la historia del flamenco, y evidentemente debe continuar durante muchos años, efectivamente. Creo que es muy importante, ha sido muy importante.
As part of his holiday in Madrid, Australian Nick Snelling visited the tableau and witnessed a different show from what he imagined flamenco to be.
They all came together at the same moment. I found it like this remarkable display of virtuosity, but combined with improvisation. And it was just like, I thought it was amazing. Like I've never experienced anything like it. It's not what I thought flamenco was, let's put it that way.
I thought it was full of expression, so like just looking at the facial expressions of both the dancers, or all three dancers, were absolutely amazing, very emotive.
Para mí, que vivo sola, es calidad de vida, el flamenco. Si yo no estuviera enganchada a esto, pues no estaría igual, estaría triste, y además el flamenco lo llevo yo en la sangre de familia, por parte de padre, por parte de...
We hope you've enjoyed all that passion, dance, and culture. After the break, we bring it back to our own African cultures.
Something called what, threads or something. What is that?
Yeah, so people, with a bit of sagging, so you're in your mid-40s, not quite ready for surgery, not entirely happy with the way your jawline looks, it has a bit of a jolly look, so that's where threads come in. So it's a non-surgical procedure.
What causes acne?
Common causes of acne are genetics, can be hormonal as well, so that's why you see it normally in sort of your prepubescent or your pubescent teenagers. There can be social causes as well.
Varicose veins versus spider veins.
Those large, big, tortuous blood vessels that run down your legs, those are varicose veins. They're typically more than 3 to 5 millimeters in size. And then those very thin, fine, thready veins, and they can be a variety of colors, purple, blue, red. So those are the spider veins.
Join Health Talk every Saturday for all your health news.
In this last segment of Trendz Travel, we bring you the African experience. We bring you literature, architecture, and religion. We do hope you enjoy.
150 miles south of Addis Ababa, Ethiopia's capital, is a little patch of Jamaica. Once you land here, these dreadlocked Rasta settlers will welcome you with their famous genre of music, reggae. Welcome to Shashamane, the promised land of the Rastafarians.
We were taken out of Africa by force. For our people, from the very first day that we were captured, we wanted to return. Some of us jumped the slave ships, was eaten by sharks because we couldn't swim. We have never seen water. We lived way in the interiors of Africa.
Meet Teddy Dan, a famous reggae artist. He's also one of the settlers in Shashamane. He was born in Jamaica, grew up in England, and finally in 1999, he arrived home in Africa. 17 years later, he doesn't see himself going back.
Seeking our identity to find out who we are, history is what takes us here.
The 53-year-old was eager to carve a niche in his ancestral land. And the best way he could do that was through his gift for artwork and music. Teddy quickly established himself as a champion for African unity here. His art gallery in the heart of Shashamane is now a tourist attraction, a site for African artifacts, and also a good place to learn a thing or two about the Rastafarians. The link between his long braided hair, bright colors, smoking marijuana, and reggae music.
This is a part of the history, and I have always believed that if we can paint our history in oil paint and canvas, it can last just like Michelangelo.
Most of his pieces carry messages of peace, love, and building Africa. Portraits of Emperor Haile Selassie decorate his gallery in every nook and cranny. Just like many Rastafarians, he too believes that Haile Selassie is the second coming of Jesus Christ. In the 1960s, the emperor offered Rastafarians his land in Ethiopia if they will come back home to Africa.
Jesus Christ said he will not come back in the world in the name of Jesus Christ. He will come in the name of the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah.
His pieces, though, have no fixed price. The highest bidder will always carry it home.
From
Many of these artworks are made of waste materials such as coconut fiber, banana bark, and corn waste. As if art is not good enough to send his message home, he turns to music. His song, United States of Africa, was a hit in many parts of the continent.
United States of Africa. Oh, yeah. I was very surprised because it started out in an argument. That's how that song was written, because we were talking about Africa and the challenges of Africa.
Since his relocation here, he has produced 2 more songs. King's Highway.
I remember walking on the King's Highway.
And Outer Shashamane. Teddy is famously known as the Bob Marley of Shashamane. He was not only Bob Marley's childhood friend, but also his lookalike, with the same mission of reinforcing African unity.
He's a man of color.
Even though he does not make millions from the songs, he's glad that the message reaches millions of people across the continent.
South Africa, come together. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Africa, in particular Shashamane, is a place that Teddy and the rest of the Rastafarians hold so dear.
The only people who have that history is
all of us.
They are hopeful that one day their dream of African unity will be a reality.
Yeah.
The Grand Agadez Mosque is a monument of Agadez's 15th century architecture that once made the city Nigeria's most prominent tourist attraction. Originally erected in 1515 and restored in 1844, Muslims from all over the city gathered here just after noon to pray and hear the Imam's sermon. But this tradition has over the years come under threat. Agadez, central Niger's largest city, gained the reputation of popular way station for people trying to cross the Sahara to eventually reach Europe via Italy. Here, migrants buy passage from people smugglers toward Algeria or Libya. From there, they take their chances across the Mediterranean. This gateway to the desert is now trying to regain its historical appeal and shake off its status as a migration industry hub.
Elle est accolée au sultanat, au palais du sultan. Un autre monument important, les deux, sont côte à côte et c'est très important. Et en plus de ça, ce monument que vous voyez est un monument ancien, qui date déjà du début du XVIe siècle et qui a été aussi construit par une personnalité elle-même célèbre qui marque toute l'histoire et la vie sociale et la vie culturelle et religieuse d'Agadez, qui s'appelle Zakaria. C'est le premier monument construit par Zakaria.
Like most Sahelian architecture, the mosque is made entirely of mud brick banco clay, a type of adobe with its 27-meter minaret, making it the highest structure in the world according to the UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organizations.
L'Aïr et la ville d'Agadez avaient une importance à la fois religieuse, économique, sociale, culturelle. Il y a toutes les qualités dans la ville d'Agadez. C'est vraiment une ville historique et c'est bien que l'UNESCO l'ait reconnue comme telle et qu'elle soit conservée.
Last week, the city welcomed the 52nd Sultan of Air, Omaru Ibrahim, a 50-year-old teacher by trade. Ibrahim succeeds after the death of his father and being elected by the major Tuareg families that make up the Sultanate. People came out to celebrate through song and dance at his official enthronement, playing the traditional drums and flutes that usually follow the Sultan at ceremonial services to announce his arrival. Back at his palace, Ibrahim sat with Muslim religious leaders known as marabouts in a salon filled with framed photographers as past sultans like his father and grandfather.
Depuis que nous sommes un nombre multiple, donc nous avons d'abord la cohésion sociale entre la communauté. Nous avons notre jeunesse vraiment qui doit être sensibilisé par rapport au moment que nous vivons, vraiment avec l'insécurité qui se passe dans nos frontières. Donc nous allons prendre l'engagement vraiment de sensibiliser la jeunesse à l'occuper pour que cette jeunesse devienne une jeunesse du développement durable.
C'est les chefs du peuple, les chefs traditionnels, en fait. Comme il est de coutume, là c'est après, au fil des années, qu'on a vu l'administration, la justice, tout ça. Mais avant c'était le sultan qui jouait tout ce rôle-là. Mais là nous avons espoir encore qu'il ait cette autorité, que cette autorité lui revienne quand même.
Riding through the streets of Cairo on a bike, Hader Mansour pulled along a cart full of books. Aboard her mobile bookshop, Booksbike, Mansour cycles through neighborhoods in the Egyptian capital, stopping to allow customers to browse her cart and buy a book. Mansour, who co-owns Booksbikes with Mohammed Bader, also provides a delivery service for customers who have paid for pre-ordered books. Their aim is to bring books closer to readers and encourage more people, especially children, to take up reading. The cart has a special section for children and sells both Arabic and English language books.
اخترنا تصميم العجلة يلائم لشكل الكتاب جواها وفي نفس الوقت يكون مناسب للأطفال بحيث هم يقدروا يدوروا بنفسهم على الكتب ما يحتاجوش ان احنا نوجههم لشيء يعني وفي نفس الوقت نقدر نتحرك بيها ونوصل للناس في أي مكان ما يبقاش ملتزمين بمكان معين أو ستور معين. احنا عايزين نكسر الحاجز ده بيننا وبين الناس ان احنا نروح لهم احنا قريبين منكم احنا جنبيكم احنا في الشارع يقدروا يوصلوا لنا بأي طريقة وكمان عملنا خدمة توصيل ان هم لو احتاجوا أي كتاب نقدر نوصل لهم يعني.
One of her customers, Morsi Mohammed, said a mobile bookshop was just what Cairo needed to encourage more reading.
ده آخر حاجة كويس طبعا بس يا ريت يكون في يعني تحفيز أكتر للشباب إن هم يقروا طبعا عن طريق وسائل الإعلام المرئية والمسموعة يكون أفضل كمان وإن انتشار طبعا المكتبات اللي هي المتنقلة ديت فرصة كويسة.
Mansour, who worked as a librarian before she started the project, hopes to have more than one bike bookshop in the future so as to share her love for reading with more people.
بنتمنى ان احنا الفترة الجاية يكون في اكتر من بوكس بايك لان احنا هدفنا ان احنا ننشر ثقافة اكتر وفكر اكتر خصوصا ان احنا انا ومحمد بنقرا فنقدر نساعد الشخص ان هو فعلا يلاقي الكتاب بتاعه اللي هو محتاجه مش مجرد ان احنا بنبيع كتب.
The mobile cart has attracted a lot of attention from passers-by, who were especially surprised to see a woman driving a bike full of books. Another customer, Mohammed Al-Mazri, said it was important for Egyptians to fund projects like Booksbike to help more people read.
المشكلة أصلا احنا بقالنا يعني كل العصور اللي فاتت ديت احنا يعني عندنا مشكلة في القراءة أصلا احنا شعب ما بنقرأش بس احنا محتاجين نهتم بالقراءة محتاجين نهتم بالتاريخ بتاعنا كده.
The Booksbike duo are currently self-funding the project but hope to receive support from book publishers in the future.
Unfortunately, that's all we have for you on this week's episode. Join us again next week, same time, same place. From our channel 404 and SABC 3 viewers, see you next time.